Good morning if you're in Great Britain. Good evening if you're in Australia. Today I've got two special guests. I thought I only had one, but I found out late last night that we'll be having two special guests. So I want to let them introduce themselves. Over to you guys.
Two for the price of one. Can't argue with that, my friend.
Buy one, get one free,
Absolutely. Put simply, we're just two mates of 20 years plus who run a football podcast. There is one more of us. He couldn't be here tonight, but our podcast is called It's a Football Thing. The link's there, and we just talk Premier League, and we have a lot of fun doing it. So I'm Scott.
And I'm RJ.
Thank you, Scott and RJ. So just quickly, before we start, how often do you guys podcast? Is it weekly, monthly, fortnightly? How often do you guys do it?
Yeah, great question. We just started recently. We're on a weekly basis, and as Scott mentioned, we talk predominantly Premier League, but whenever there's a hot topic like the Champions League, we love our football, and we're not afraid to talk about what's topical.
And how you guys finding it at the moment? Because it's quite hard for one, just to be consistent. I'm finding it just to be making sure that it's the same time every week that your content is out there. Are you guys finding it tough as well, or is it just easy for you guys?
It's a big commitment as well, and we kind of set up on a Thursday night after work, so all the kids are in bed. We'll get together, and we don't finish till about midnight, but we're having a great time, and we feel like anyone that gets a chance to listen. Our audio wasn't very sharp at the beginning. We had a few things we were a bit rusty at, but we feel like as it's gone on, we've got more confident and the quality's got better, we like to hope. So.
Yeah, and another thing adding to that, given that we've been mates for a very long time, to be honest with you, we talk about football all the time, and all we've done differently now is put a microphone in front of us. Yeah. And also being from down under, Australia, we're very seasoned in terms of staying up all night because of time difference. More often than not, we watch the Premier League at 2, 3, 4 a.m. So no skin off our back.
Yeah. Imagine waking up to watch Arsenal this season at 3:30 in the morning.
No, it's hell, man. And to be fair, I mean, I feel like we've given each other quite good swaps. You know, we've given you the Premier League, and you've given us sort of neighbours.
Married at first sight,
home and away.
Yes, as Scott knows, married at first sight. I've been watching. So I must say thank you for those two, and home and away. To be honest, when I was younger, I used to really watch home and away quite a bit. So I know some of the youngsters out there now won't have a clue what we're talking about.
Well, forget Peaky Blinders, forget The Crown, just get straight into home and away.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So can you? I sent out a tweet saying I wanted to discuss people's greatest 11s or their best 11s. It could be anything, and so far, I mean, I've had quite a few people come back, but yours has been the most interesting so far. Can you tell me what yours is, please, or tell the viewers what yours is?
Without us fighting, who wants to intro it?
Yeah, they've been fighting before we came on. They were fighting, so
we agreed to be amicable just for you. So I'll let you kick off.
When we saw your tweet, we'd had a bit of a chat about it because we've got our little group, and we wanted to do something different. Obviously, the fact that we're all the way down here on a floating island that the UK didn't want anymore, we thought we'd put together a non-European 11, and we sent you two teams, as you'd know. We did a last-minute change because there's so much quality as well from outside Europe that sometimes can be forgotten. So we sent one team, then we sat down, started arguing about it again, and we realised we'd left out some really big players.
Very, very big players, I may add.
So we thought we'd do something different, and in the non-European 11 we've tried not to just stick with Brazilian players, your Brazilians and Argentinians.
I think that's what most people do when they do it. It's just automatically think everybody's got to be Brazilian and Argentinian. It's great. It's great that you guys actually went around the whole globe and chose teams. And yes, we have Claudio in the building. Great to see my Chelsea friend RJ on here. Looking forward to the show, boys. Thank you, Claudio, for always being there as well, mate. Hope you're having a good morning. Yeah, he is. He's humble, very, very humble as well. So as we were saying before stream. So and he seems happy. He seems happy. That's what I like to see. Been watching these little 2-minute videos, and Claudio seems to be happy right now.
Well, the one he did this morning was fantastic as well, I might add.
I spoke to him probably about 3 weeks ago on a stream, and he didn't look as happy as he looks now. So I'm glad Claudio is happy right now. So yeah, we're going to get into it. I'm going to put the team up. Usually I don't put the team up and then we do it one by one, but I think it's better in this instance if we have the visual representation so everybody can see it, and then you guys can talk us through the players and why you put them in there. So there we go.
Well, sorry.
Go on.
We'll start with Alisson.
Yeah, obviously.
He's a man we've spoken a bit about on the podcast at the moment. Yeah. He's obviously not in the greatest of form. I'm sure not many non-Liverpool fans are too bothered by it. But on his day, he's a quality keeper. And I truly think, I don't know if you both agree, I think this is just a tip. And the fact that he's got guys playing in front of him who aren't of serious quality, I think that's part of it. So he was an easy pick for me in goalkeeper.
So I agree. He's very, very good. And I've been saying this for a while. I know it's a very unpopular opinion that he makes a lot of mistakes for a top keeper. I remember Peter Cech, people like David Seaman, Peter Schmeichel didn't make as many mistakes as Alisson. But what I think Alisson has always had is the front three. The front three get him out of a lot of trouble. So if he does make a mistake, the front three usually get him out of trouble. And I was looking at a stat over the last 2 seasons, he's made, I think, 7 or 8 mistakes that have led to goals. For me, for a top keeper, that is just a little bit too many. But then Liverpool won the league by so much, which shows that his teammates get him out. And yeah, I think if we're being honest, it was out of 2 goalkeepers, Alisson and probably Ederson for Man City. So it could have been any of them. But I think going on what Liverpool have done for the last 2 seasons in terms of the trophies that they won, is for me, yeah, it would be Alisson.
It's a flip of the coin. I agree.
Yeah,
I do think players like Ederson and himself, I think they are more susceptible to making mistakes because they're more actively called upon and they have more touches. So when you have more touches, you're more likely to commit a mistake versus other keepers who are purely 100%. Shot stoppers, if you know what I mean.
And yeah, like I said, just the way they play. I mean, sometimes these guys are like on the halfway line trying to play football. So yeah, it is inevitable that, especially as they play with their feet quite a bit as well, that they are going to make mistakes. And when it is a mistake, it usually is to do with their feet, like just kicking it to a striker or something silly. It's not like handling mistakes like people like Pickford that make every week, to be honest. All right,
let's not go there.
Yeah, I don't know. He's got like glass hands, isn't he? Like they just sit, the ball just goes through him, it just smashes and goes through him. Who have you guys got at left back?
Alphonso Davies.
Yeah, I don't think anyone in the world could argue with that, to be fair.
The pace, the flair, he's strong in the tackle, great distribution. This was a no-brainer.
The potential as well.
Yeah,
he's so young, so much quality there, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how the player he develops into in the next 4 or 5 seasons. It's going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, I don't think there's much we could say about him, to be fair. Yeah, I don't have a bad word to say about him. So I think that one was quite easy. And then we can move on to your choice of centre backs.
You can tell who picked the one on the left.
Yeah, I can tell. When I saw that, I was like, oh, that's interesting, because there's somebody that I thought maybe RJ would have put in there. I'm not
gonna lie, our group message turns a little bit how do we say it? Confrontational when we were coming up for the centre backs.
Constructive, I'd say.
Yeah, constructive. Good. You're the optimist. I had to put Gabriel in there. I like these left footer.
Yeah.
I think he was playing he was our player of the month.
100%.
Consistently until he had a bit of an injury. But I really like it. He's got a bit of pace to him as well. his left foot's so strong. He seems really calm. And I think if he had a stronger partner at Arsenal, he'd look even better than he does. So not who RJ wanted. We will probably have to put an alternate on our lineup that can't be displayed. But RJ, do you want to explain who you wanted there?
Yeah, well, out of political correctness, I let Scott choose on that one. But for me, I would have had alternate as Thiago Silva. I just thought he's, for me, and obviously hardcore biased Chelsea fan, not sure you could see, but trying to be objective for a minute, I just think the bloke at his age is still punching out 8 and 9s every week, every time he's on the pitch. And I just think it's a credit to him and every other young player just how good someone can be at that age. So, yeah, for me, I'm a big fan of Silva.
Yeah, so I think we'll leave it as an honourable mention for Silva, which I'm sure you're not happy about, RJ, but, it's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes.
It's the way.
Let's move on to a centre-back partner.
Yeah, I think this guy here, he's been right up there in terms of the top European centre-backs, courted by many of the big clubs across Europe. And Koulibaly, just to me, he oozes that perfect profile of a centre-back. He's strong in the air. He's fast. He makes the tackle that's expected of a centre-back. He doesn't hold back. And generally speaking, he's quite level-headed. And I think he's someone that if I'm a goalkeeper, or I'm your centre-back partner, or even your defensive midfielder, you've got comfort that he's behind you or around you. So for me, he picks himself.
What do you think the reason is that he hasn't sort of had a move yet? Because everybody, I think we're all calling, or I'll say traditional top six. I think we're all calling out for a centre back like him. Man United definitely need him. Arsenal 110% need him.
No joke.
To be honest, definitely. Like I said, he's been courted by many of the big clubs, and what's stopping him? Probably the unreasonable price tag and the difficult negotiator of his club owner. That's probably what blocked him, to be honest, because he definitely has the quality. It's a shame that. Oh, I'm an Inter fan, and we'll get on to that as well in the Serie A. I think many clubs across Italy and Europe generally would have loved to have him in his side. So, but it is what it is. He's a quality player nonetheless.
I agree. Let's move on to right back.
Yes, well, nice segue. As I said, Inter fan in the Serie A, and Hakimi has just come out gangbusters in recent seasons, and he's one of the few players that are spearheading Inter's charge to the Serie A title for the first time in so long now. We're breaking the Juve curse, fingers crossed.
I do have to admit, if you look in my wardrobe, you'll see it. I bought an Inter Milan shirt this season just for Lukaku. But Juventus is actually my second team. I've probably got 6 or 7 Juventus shirts.
Rough, come on, man.
And it's been from like Zambrotta, before Zambrotta, like Vialli and Ravanelli days. So
great players.
I used to just love watching Italian football.
But I just love the way Hakimi, honestly, like in the back 3 or back 5 system under Conte. I know we've got him as right back here, but he just brings that dynamism of the modern day fullback, and I think he just adds a lot to Inter's attack in particular, and I think he's going to be a very promising player for years to come.
And he's on 6 goals and 5 assists, which isn't a bad return for someone playing in the defence.
For sure.
So
it's a bit like Liverpool, where you Trent Alexander and obviously Robertson, they're just getting crazy numbers. But I think what I like about Hakimi is that he can actually defend. I think we've got to a stage where we're not even rating players on their defending anymore. People are like, well, this guy's got this many assists. He can cross. And I'm like, because a lot of people talk about Aaron Wan-Bissaka and the fact that he when he gets forward, he doesn't really know what to do, but his first job is to defend. I would prefer my defenders defended before they attacked. And I think that's the one thing that the Italian league has never sort of shied away from, is having your defenders actually defend first before they do anything else. So again, Hakimi, we can't argue with that. This midfield is again just unbelievable. in my eyes. I'll let you go, Scott, because obviously I'm guessing you put this guy in there.
Yeah, and I mean, I think when we speak about Thomas Partey, we need to speak about Ndidi as well, because it was really a deliberate choice to put two guys like that in the middle who just epitomise work rate, tireless, moving up, moving back, tracking, making tackles.
Yeah, destruction, that's right.
They absolutely complement each other. And when you look at our offensive players, you needed two guys in the middle who could provide that balance. But speaking of Thomas Partey, obviously we haven't seen enough of him at Arsenal. The Arsenal curse has struck. A guy that had no injuries in his career comes to Arsenal and has sat out so much. But when we have seen him, and even when he was playing in the La Liga, he's so dynamic. He's so dynamic. He contributes in defence, but he also can spark attack as well. So
yeah. And I think adding to that, it's just the profile of both players, like you said, Scott, the dynamism, but they're also beyond the engine are quality football players fundamentally. And these guys here, like one of my favourite players, Kante, they're good football players. And I think especially when we get further up the list in our team, other players in those more advanced positions can benefit from that work rate and quality that these two workhorses bring. So I think they're probably the low-key highlight players of our team, to be honest with you.
They hold it together because it doesn't matter who you've got up top. Without two guys like that in the middle, you
need to connect those dots. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it is a very interesting one because, I mean, I'd obviously watched Atletico Madrid loads of times. I watched Partey loads of times, but I'd never really noticed how good he was in that transition, like you're saying, after he's won the ball, how good he is at getting forward. And I've been pleasantly surprised how good he is on the ball as well. And Ndidi, again, like you're saying, it's just destruction and then just starts attacks. And it's really weird because a lot of people talk about Kante in terms of that he's not good at passing or he's not good on the ball, but that doesn't make sense to me because he won the league 2 seasons in a row, and for me, it's a lot to do with the way he plays. We talk about the Makelele role. I think he made his own role. I think Kante made his own role in the sense that he was literally everywhere on the pitch. If the other team was about to score, Kante would just come out of nowhere. He's quick, he's fast, and he starts attacks. And I think sometimes people are harsh on people like Ndidi and Kante and say they can't play football, and that's why they're not really up there. But you just have to look at what their actual job is to do, and they're second to none, to be honest.
With players like that, you don't know what you've got till they've gone.
Yeah,
they do so much of the dirty work that isn't always in the limelight. But you take those players out, and everyone else struggles. And Kante is one of the few players RJ and I actually agree on in terms of how we rate. In terms of how we rate him, I would have loved to have Kante at Arsenal.
And what I really, I know it's not the show about Kenny or Kante, but what I do like about our little Frenchman is that he's someone where he's not just a defensive destructo. He's not renowned for his defensive discipline. Like, he's someone that was very good at initiating a counter press, and he will chase right back, left back, striker, reserve orange peeler. He'll do everything, this guy. Like, that's what I love about him. He's a very team first kind of player. He's not just a one trick pony.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. We'll go to left forwards. I like working across. So who have you got in that left forward position?
You want this one or you want me to do it?
Make me. Eddie wants to do it, really.
I don't particularly enjoy bigging up Spurs players, but
we flip the coin on that one.
Look, no, in all seriousness, all bias and rivalry aside, Son is just an exceptional footballer. He's a guy who, even though there's not a lot of creativity around him, he's stepped up and he's able to spark attack from nothing. He's on 18 goals, 12 assists this season. And those numbers aren't rare for a guy like him. And I actually think, again, all bias aside, he just seems like a really humble, hardworking, and dedicated footballer. So he was one that we wanted in.
You just wonder why he's where he is. But in all seriousness, I have to totally agree. As a Chelsea fan, I always feared him probably the most, arguably with Kane, of course. But
yeah,
he's just someone that's been there, done that for so long as well. It's not just he came out of the woodwork. This guy's been low-key, high consistency sort of player. And for us, he definitely deserves to be on this list.
Yeah, and one thing I would question is why you left somebody else out in that position. I mean, I think Son. I always said I thought Son was world class, and I don't know. It seems like Jose Mourinho has actually killed him this season. But there is somebody. Do you know who I think should be there ahead of him?
Was he part of a Premiership winning team?
Why was Mane? I mean, like you could choose either or, but why was Mane left out?
To me, it was an either or, like similar.
I mean, yeah.
And I mean, we wanted this to be a real international.
Yeah, okay.
11. So to have a player who's South Korean in there as well.
Yeah.
Neymar's also been left out of this team. I'm sure you noticed that.
But there's also
I didn't notice it until you just said it, to be fair.
But that I refuse to put Neymar.
But there's also the other aspect as well. Like you asked a very good question because I've got it in my little paper in front of me. You can't see it, but I wrote Mane down there as the alternate. But I think if you want to defend the Son choice, another aspect, it's not a primary one, but it is an advantage, is the height. And I think that's something to change the profile a bit, and especially in those attacking areas in and around the box. Like, for example, for Chelsea at the moment, it's the whole Alonso versus Chilwell thing, and Tuchel come out and said, Alonso offers that height advantage. So it is something that's real for managers, and I think Son at least has that quality over Mane, even though it's not a quality, it's a birth thing. So, yeah, flip of a coin choice.
Yeah, I totally agree. It was just a flip of a coin choice. I actually had Mane as the best player in the Premiership last season. So, it would have meant you left out Salah, who I don't think you can leave him out. So it was either or. I could see why you've gone for Son anyway. Behind the striker, who have you gone? So you're playing 4-2-3-1. Who have you got in there?
Some up and comer. You might have heard of him, but he's going to do big things in the game of football. Lionel Messi. He's obviously what else do you say? It's a full stop. The guy, even though he's like Cristiano Ronaldo, we're at the twilight of their careers, they're still punching out big numbers despite their respective ages. And I just think someone like that, the intelligence, the movement, especially being complemented by the two workhorses behind him, I think it could cause some real havoc in and around those areas, especially with the players on the left and right of him.
What did you make of what was going on in the summer with him wanting to leave and them saying no? Do you think they should have let him leave? Because in my eyes, I don't think they've prepared for it. Like he's going to stop playing football eventually, and I don't think they've ever prepared for it. I know they had Neymar for a while, but I don't think they've really prepared for Messi leaving. And I think for everything he's done for them, I think they should have probably let him go. But obviously, that's what contracts and stuff are there for. What did you guys think?
His contract's an expensive one, and I'm wondering now, hindsight's a beautiful thing. I'm wondering now if the COVID situation being what it is, if Barcelona had their time again, would they have taken a big bid from Man City or someone else?
I mean, they definitely.
That contract is just, it's insane. I mean, he's arguably the best player of all time. We clash on the Ronaldo Messi debate. I'm more on the Ronaldo side, but we won't go there. But that contract is just heavy, and I have a feeling he'll go at the end of the season. Yeah. Definitely. I don't think he'll renew.
Yeah. And my 2 cents on that is just that I think the club itself is in a little bit of a shambolic state at the moment. I think they've basically had their football operation or their investment strategy banked on one player, which is not very good, sustainable business. We all know he's obviously one of the top 2 players at least of all time, but all good things come to an end, and I don't think they've planned for that very well.
And you can't plan to replace a guy like Messi.
And the thing is, I don't know if all the rumors are true about how much Messi does actually choose who goes there and who leaves and stuff. But some of the players that they've let go in terms of like when they were at the top of the game, like Samuel Eto'o and Ibrahimovic and players like that, and you just think, you guys, you just thought this guy he was going to play for the next 20 years. Like you don't have any plan.
Yeah,
I literally have no sympathy for them whatsoever.
Yeah,
I just hope, Messi gets what he wants this summer because he deserves it. He's been there for his whole career, and he honestly deserves it.
It's sad, isn't it, though, in a way, because on one hand, we all love the player that he has become and what he's given to us as football fans. But the other part of me says, how good would it be if he could just finish up as a one-club player? So I kind of get that aspect as well. Like, because, I mean, even if he goes to a City, he'll do well because City's got a great squad. If he goes to PSG, he's already got a League One title guaranteed. But will that – it's not like Ronaldo where he's been a bit of a journeyman, dominated each team he's gone to, whereas Messi's been special in his own right because he's been the one-club player. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm a bit mixed on that one.
Yeah, we'll see how that one pans out. Who have you guys got on the right forward?
Mo Salah. I mean, pretty difficult to leave Salah out. He wanted Ziyech in there, which was an absolute no-go.
Until we went with a back three, and now we can't get in the squad. The Moroccan sensation.
No, but Salah just offers so much spark. He'll win plenty of penalties throughout the season. Score plenty of penalties. He's just, you can't even describe him in too much detail. He's truly of an elite caliber.
Yeah, the consistency, the pace, the finishing. The Swan Lake diving. No, in all seriousness, he's just a quality player, and very hard to exclude him. If you thought Mane was hard, we couldn't justifiably exclude him.
Yeah, I mean, when I come to picking teams and stuff, and you did mention the diving, for some reason I just can't get past it, and it's probably one of the reasons why I always leave Neymar and Salah out of teams.
That's what we've done.
It's literally just based on that. I'm just like, you're the best players in the world. That's the one thing you don't need to do. Like, if you're rubbish at football and you're just trying to buy free kicks and win penalties and stuff, I get it, but you're at the top of your game. You're the best in your position. Like, why do you feel like Salah the other day was just like, this is just, it looks like you're desperate. And whether that's to do with his team not winning as much, but I don't know. I just don't get it. And it's just something that he can't get rid of. He actually physically can't get rid of it. And you can see sometimes you look at them and you think, what have I just done? Why have I just done something so stupid? And with VAR and stuff, that's what makes me feel like it's just in him and he can't actually get it out, because now VAR's there. You're not going to get away with diving and stuff like that anymore. But
they still are. They still are, and it's not getting punished. So until retrospective punishment. And I mean, it can be so subjective, because if there's even some contact, is it a dive? Or is it exaggeration? And what's the difference?
Exaggeration. It's not a dive, it's exaggeration. Yeah. I totally agree. But well, he's just a great player anyway. So we'll get past the theatrics just because he is a great player. And the guy up front, I am and I'm not shocked. I mean, I think people that are shocked are looking at it from this season. They're purely basing it off this season. But if you base it off the whole of the last 7-8 years, then
there's another notable mention as well. But definitely this guy, he doesn't look like a fish out of water.
Who was your notable mention?
For me, I'd probably go Luis Suarez, to be honest with you. Okay, fair. I think he's been at the top for a long time, and I'm glad he wasn't at the top this morning for obvious reasons, but he's definitely high quality.
No, he bite too many people. I'm happy with it.
He takes a lot of bite, doesn't he?
Yeah, he sure does. Now, look, obviously that was my pick. The boys last night at 11 o'clock didn't have the energy to argue with me too much over it. But again, I'm not looking at this season. That's one of the things we debated. Are we looking at current form? Are we looking at form over the last few years? What? And we
best
sorry.
Sort of. I think it is best to do like over a 3-4 year sort of thing, because obviously you could put someone in there that just plays one good season and then you never see him again. So for me, it makes sense to go over 2, 3, 4 years.
And he's scored goals everywhere he's gone. He scored so many goals, and is it 250 he hit the other day? Was it 250 goals? I can't remember off the top of my head. In the top European leagues. So a guy that can do that in multiple leagues isn't out of place in this lineup.
I mean, someone that outscored Lewandowski and Harry Kane. You just that shows the ability he does have. I'm not quite sure what's on his mind at the moment. I don't believe it's because he's got a new contract and he's just down tools. I don't believe that at all. But there's something obviously going on there, because he doesn't even look like he can run past people anymore, which is very strange. You can't just lose your pace in 2 months. That doesn't make sense to me. So there's obviously something going on. Was there anyone else that Suarez, again, just you can't get past the person he is off the pitch or the things that he does. On the pitch, he's just amazing, but as a person, he just seems to be a bit of a douchebag. Would there have been anyone
seems. But yeah, no, his antics, even this morning with Antonio Rudiger, he saw like he grabbed his leg, and that's what's provoked Rudiger to almost lose his cool. Yeah. Unfortunately, with some of these players, it's the same with our good friend Diego Costa. They tiptoe the line. You love them when they're on your team, but when they're against you, they can't help themselves. They get that white line fever, and they just don't know how to not cross the line when they don't know how to channel that aggression productively, unfortunately.
They do, and when they do, you sort of see. I think Diego Costa was better at channeling his energy into making goals than Suarez was. And even between those two, it's a mad competition as to who you would want in your team. Obviously, I think Suarez has the technical ability over Diego, but I think Diego would just kill people, and I think people just love to have that.
He brings those intangibles, doesn't he? He's someone that will go to war with you, and he picks you up. He gives you that extra 5% from those around you, and sometimes that's very hard to quantify. But yeah, technically Suarez more proficient, but who's better? Flip a coin, I think. So
there are a lot that can count to that. I mean, we mentioned Neymar. We'll be generous. We'll give him a spot on the bench. You can cut someone as an impact sub. Mane was someone we missed. Originally, Casemiro was in the team as well. He's another guy that provides that drive, that work rate, hard tackling, and can also crack a good shot sometimes. So there are a couple of players that we left. But yeah, it was a really fun team to put together.
And Matt Ryan in goals, of course.
Yeah, absolutely, Matty Ryan.
Shout out.
Maybe we could have tried to put Tim Cahill in there as well. If he ever wants to come out of retirement. But yeah, no, I mean, we literally can't argue with the team that you guys put out there. I think people probably will be surprised. The two most surprising ones probably people would say are Aubameyang and Ndidi, but I think they would just be probably looking at Aubameyang on this season and Ndidi because of who he plays for. It's nothing to do with his ability. It's just literally who he plays for. So people will be like, well, you can't really put him in there because he plays for Leicester City.
And Leicester are no slouches. I mean, look how they're performing.
That's the thing. I don't think they're ever going to get the respect they deserve, even though they've sort of they have won the league in recent times. And people like Spurs and Everton seem to get more respect than them when they haven't done anything. It doesn't quite make sense to me, but
and you can see how good Leicester are flourishing, very well balanced, good manager, but players like Ndidi perhaps are low key, like you said, because of who they play for. But look how good his fellow colleague Maddison's going in that more advanced position. And who do you think's helped facilitating that? It's obviously he's got the quality, but players like Ndidi just help him that much more.
Yeah, as Top Techers have said, bring back Viduka. He was a baller.
Absolutely, come on.
Or Harry Kewell, actually, for what they did at Highbury and lost us the league that year when they beat us 3-2. So
painful memories.
Get Schwarzer back for Chelsea, I reckon.
There have been some really good Aussies in the Premier League over the. I mean, Mark Bosney.
I tell you who I think is the best. I think Harry Kewell was the best in terms of. I think he had the highest ceiling. I think he could have been the one that could have genuinely been world class if he hadn't had the injuries and the right moves at the right time. I mean, he played for Liverpool and Leeds at the time, so he did get 2 good moves. But I think Tim Cahill, I just think Cahill was the best out of all of them.
To me, he was the most aggressive. He's the one that was like the true fighter, punched above his weight. He was always like, he typified that Aussie grit, that spirit of going up against the bigger boys. And I remember one of these goals he scored against us with this crazy overhead kick. Yeah. And it's just like, that's Timmy Cahill wrapped up in a nutshell. Like, the guy just doesn't give up, and he sort of like embodies that typical Aussie spirit. So, yeah, I was a big fan of his.
Top Techers knows his football.
Again, back to Highbury days, I remember there being a corner, and obviously he was playing Everton, and I just saw it all unfolding. I just saw Cahill just coming. I saw it. I was like, nobody's picking up Cahill. I just kept saying it. No one's picking him up. No one's picking him up. And then he's not even the biggest guy on the pitch, but the amount of headers that guy used to get was just unbelievable. And yeah, I think he goes down as probably one of the most underrated players as well in the Premiership. And again, I think sometimes where you come from and who you're playing for goes against you. And I think that was definitely one of the issues for Cahill, that he's Australian and he played for Everton.
Cahill kept doing it till he was about 36, and he was still our national team's best player. You could put him in the national team now, he'd probably still be our best player.
Yeah.
If a Mill didn't go down too well, because over here Mill are hated. Like, they're just one of the teams that every single team hates. So that probably went against them a little bit, but it's still that shouldn't take away from how good the guy was, to be honest.
Well, one player that was also we had big hopes for and didn't quite take off, I personally have a lot of respect from, Aaron Mooy. I thought he was quite a talented and technically gifted player, and he was starting making a bit of waves, and then he sort of tapered off a bit. Yeah.
You know what? Now you guys have said that, we'll do that. We'll do the greatest 11 Australian players. We'll do that. We're gonna hook that up for whether we could do it this week or next week, but we will. That is going to be a very interesting show. I'm going to do mine, and you guys do yours, and then let's see how close they are. But Mooy, I mean, he did play for Man City, didn't he? So he would have had some sort of technical ability. Brighton and Huddersfield, he obviously played for both of those teams. There was times when I watched him at Brighton, especially, just thought this guy, you know what? If he's playing for a better team, he could be really good. But you know, form's always going to drop when you're playing for a team like that, because
I'd have taken him over on any.
Well, you've got to strike the right balance, don't you? Because, like you said, on one hand, you want to be in a team that complements your skills and helps elevate you, but you also got to have the right minutes. And if you're playing in a team that's too good, you're not going to get those minutes. So there's a trade-off there. But yeah, spot on.
You know, if you're passing to like Glenn Murray and people like that, your conversion rate isn't going to be as good as if you're, say, playing, you know, with Aguero or Aubameyang last season or whoever. So
slight difference. Yeah.
But guys, thank you so much for coming on. That was an amazing show. Again, please tell us where we could find you, what you guys do, just in case anybody missed the beginning.
Yeah, you can find us on Spotify, Apple, Google. Our podcast is called It's a Football Thing, but please get in touch with us on Twitter. We're trying to build our following, and we'd love some audience engagement as well. So you can find us in the handle that's listed just down there. And we're also our personal accounts too. We obviously interact on there as well. So Scott has his one. What's yours again? Mine's at SM_Borg. And mine's capital RJ, the letters RJ_good things. I'm also a writer and editor for Chelsea fan page that's growing pretty rapidly, I might say, the Chelsea Social.
So get on board if you're a Blue, but if not, happy to just talk Premier League in general on the IFT pod.
Yeah, I'll put all their links to all of their pages on at the end of this video, and I'll also put it on my Twitter so you can find them. But if you're not subscribed to my channel, then I don't know how you quite found yourself over here. But if you're not subscribed, obviously I'm Big Gunner TV. I'm the same on Instagram and on Twitter. And again, guys, thank you so much for an amazing show. Thank you for a very, very good team. Like I was saying, a few of them were just basically a coin toss between players. So, yeah, an amazing team. And yeah, you heard it first. We're going to bring you an all-time Australian 11. And hopefully we can do that this week or next week. So everybody that's been in the comments, thank you. Anybody that's going to watch this after, thank you. Please leave more comments. Let us know who your best 11 would have been. And make sure you guys have a good evening. Anybody over here, enjoy the rest of your day. See you soon.